How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's going to the 5th of October 2021. AMA today, so if anybody's watching this video after the fact, then I guess it will be less relevant. But I'm going to be making my way down there in a couple of hours, so I thought, you know what, I'll do a quick analysis. I know I did a previous video regarding this, but I just want to kind of have a closer look, so I've got it in mind. I know what's going off in my head while I'm there, and I have the chart in mind. So I'll do a quick rundown. It's not going to be exhaustive, in terms of time, but I'll go through some, some bits and bobs, and then obviously we'll see what happens. I have, and this is just my personal opinion. I think we're gonna hear something pretty cool during the AMA. It's not anything that I've heard. There isn't anything that I know. I think we're about ready. I think we're ready to really hear something. It doesn't have to be spectacular. It doesn't have to be mind-blowing, or anything insane. But I think it's going to be very good news, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that will be happy with what's presented at the AMA. And again, just a feeling based on the way things are going with Swissborg, and a little bit of my experience in terms of kind of being around for a while. So with that said, I just want to jump up to the weekly and just kind of get a feel for what the weekly's saying. Now, in terms of price delivery, liquidity, imbalances, all of this stuff that you guys hear me talking about, okay? I'm gonna break it down into two very simple points, okay? We have liquidity down here, so we'll call it 50 and below, okay? And on the upside, it's a little bit trickier because theoretically, in terms of the way price is delivered, okay, the liquidity actually would be around it's the $1 actually, yeah, between sort of 95 and $1. That's where the bulk of the liquidity is, and this is where price should effectively start to run for. But there's all of this to get through on the way up, and when we drop down to the daily, we can see that there's this big chunk here that price may need to go through, and react at. There's this area here which doesn't bode well. There's this chunk here that created this pop that doesn't bode well. So there's a lot of stuff in terms of, brick walls on the way up. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't just, which we've seen many times, not just on Swissborg, but, on pretty much any asset class that you watch. You can almost guarantee you've seen, a nice impulse explosive candle, something like this that effectively just rips through everything. Okay, and they're created by, they're created for a lot of different reasons, but ultimately it really doesn't matter how it's created. It's what it passes through and how it passes through that tells us what we need to know. So for example, if we get an explosive move to the upside and it stops here first, and then another explosive move and it stops, and another explosive move, this is so much better than price just ripping to the upside and people seeing that. Psychologically, they're thinking, wow, profit. You are going to get people that are going to be profit taken, then it eases off, and this is why we get these insane candles. They rip up and then they just effectively reverse and everything just goes to shit. So we need to see price moving in a way that's conducive to momentum shifting upwards, that the sentiment is good, that momentum has shifted, that price wants to go higher, not just on an impulse, but the start of an impulse that is consistent while it's moving higher and grinding through liquidity pools, because then we know that this grab for liquidity down here was enough, to offload much higher, 140. Key level, so that's very important. It has to go that way. In terms of price delivery, if it just kind of grinds up there, in a very lethargic manner, again, that's great. What we don't want to see is explosive movement. We don't want to see erratic behavior. We don't want to see, price just exploding out of nowhere. The other thing that bodes very well for Swissborg, or CHSB at the minute, is the fact that price hasn't done anything as of yet. What I didn't like and what I still don't like, and I made a comment about this in the Discord chat, Wealth and Trading channel over at the Swissborg Discord server, is that I'm watching price, and I've been watching it for the last couple of days, and I'm not liking the way that it's just simply not reacting to nothing, like a zero. We've had a little bit of a pop up, a little bit of a pop down, but effectively it's stuck between a 5, almost 7 cent range. And that makes me uneasy. I don't like seeing price just kind of not really doing much, especially when we've got some really nice movement on Bitcoin. You've got Ethereum running nicely. You've got some of the other currencies running nicely. Enja's had a nice run. Ren had a nice run. You know, not wealth app specific, because if you look across the board, you know, Bitcoin has actually caused, you know, a lot of upward shifting momentum to come back into the market and push a lot of these tokens to the upside. So you can say, well, it's pre-AMA, people are waiting. Not really, because the volume just simply isn't there for people to be waiting to then jump on Swissborg when they hear something fantastic. Somebody made a very good point earlier, and it's very valid. You know, there's about 900 people or so, you know, that are going to be watching the AMA. We'll just call it a cool 1,000. You know, these people aren't going to move the market unless every single one of them is a whale, right? So we have to be mindful of this, you know. It doesn't mean that price isn't going to be favorable. It doesn't mean that price is going to drop to the downside, but it's just something that I'm aware of and something that kind of doesn't sit right with me, you know. More experience talking than anything else, okay? But like I said, I am looking forward to favorable news tonight, you know, and I believe, as I've said many times, you know, it doesn't have to be the end of year, but I've always said that the landscape is going to look very different, you know, by the end of the year, you know, across the whole board, including CHSB and Bitcoin, you know, and I stand by that, and I'm absolutely confident in that. When I first said it up to this point now, oh, we've got a live, 1 second, I think I actually got one right for a Change Crypto Challenge, boom, lovely. I forecasted at 47,840 to go up, and it's at 50,215. If anybody has no idea what I'm talking about, it's the Crypto Challenge from Swissborg. It's a cool little app. Yeah, that's not bad. I do like that. Now I'm just going to kind of sit and wait for a second. I'll sit on that for a couple of days. For anybody that uses this app or doesn't use this app, if you download it and you start to use it, make sure that you log in every day, because you get a bonus after X amount of days of logging in. But you know, it doesn't mean that you have to do a prediction every day. You know, treat it like trading. Treat it like you're trying to, you know, to get it right. So Bitcoin's had a nice run. Wait for a pullback. If you think it's going up, wait for a pullback. Don't just get in now, because you've got to get it right within 24 hours, and it's not easy. So going back to CHSB, sorry for the digression there. It doesn't mean that, you know, just because I feel this way, that price is going to explode to the downside and everything's going to be shit. That's not the case. It's just experience talking. You know, when I feel this way, I kind of just take a step back. I'm, you know, happily invested in CHSB. I absolutely love the CHSB token. I love the, you know, the company. You know, so I'm not going anywhere. For me, it's always been about, you know, playing chess with CHSB and trying to figure out the best spots to, you know, to accumulate more. So if we just go back up to the daily for a second, you know, you can see that this is looking okay now. Yeah, this is not too bad. If it does drop, I'm not expecting it. Do you know what the ideal scenario is? It snaps into this area and then reverses really violently. That would be fantastic to see. You know, but don't be shocked. You know, don't have an idea going into this. As in, I really want it to go up, and then you get invested in that idea and you get emotionally attached to that idea. Don't do that. My suggestion is, and this is again from experience, just let it unfold the way it wants to unfold. If you're already invested in CHSB, just relax, let it do its thing. You know, most people, you know, that are listening to this video, you know, are already invested in CHSB, and we just want it to do its thing and go up and start a new range. You know what I mean? Preferably above 140. That'd be fantastic. You know, and that way you're pleasantly surprised. If price comes down, you're like, okay, we're kind of used to that, right? No big deal. But if it goes up, you'll be, you know, pleasantly surprised. You're not invested in terms of emotionally, and you can just allow things to unfold nicely. And then you can take it from there. So that's my 2 pence worth. I do believe, like I said, there's going to be some favourable news tonight. I think it's going to be very welcomed across the community. So we'll see what happens. And anybody that's going, obviously, I'll see you there. And with that said, have an awesome evening, everybody, and I will catch you soon. Take care.